would you describe your art and your artistic practice to someone who's curious but totally unfamiliar with it?
I'm an Algonquin artist from Zibi, which is just an hour and a half north of Ottawa, and my art reflects my culture, history, and the teachings that I've learned over time, and I've tried to express that in the art that I do. So a lot of the subject matter is animals and birds, sometimes people, but it's rooted, I like to say, in the land. You know, the land is our teacher, and very literally that's how I like to see my own learning comes from art, but it's also coming from the land that's around us. I moved to Ottawa when I was 18 to go to Algonquin College. I was interested in, I was always an artist, producing art from a very young age, and I was interested in graphic arts. I came here to learn about design and advertising, that type of thing. I think what I miss most was, you know, I grew up in a community, there's lots of Native women around, and I missed my community. So I had worked for the Hudson's Bay Company. I was an advertising manager, but then I got away and started working with Aboriginal people very early on. I got homesick, drawn to it, you know.
Tell me about the work that you have in the OAG exhibition.
What's interesting about the bear is I'm from the Bear clan, so it goes through the mother. So I know that my mother, my grandmother, her mother were part of the Bear clan. And in Algonquin culture, the bear is considered the head of all animals. There's a little hierarchy there, and one of the stories is that the animals were kind of, there was something, they were feeling kind of strange, and so the bear got all the animals together, and they were talking about how they were feeling and what they were missing and that, and so the bear said, we need mates, you know. So like I said, one time you just had these generic animals, so then we ended up with male and female animals, and so it's partners, but it's kind of a Algonquin theme that there's always balance.
You've worked extensively on issues of Aboriginal health.
Yeah.
Can art make us healthier?
Well, it heals us. You know, I think art heals us. It's kind of funny, people, you know, you go to the National Gallery and it's right across from the church, you know, and in a way, that's society's new church, in a way that the church healed people in the past. Well, it still does, but in many ways, our galleries, our art heals us for many different reasons. You know, it creates a dialogue across cultures. Art can say things in your face that you couldn't say to another human being without offending them, you know. So it kind of opens up a space in our own minds that I think is good and healthy.
This exhibition at the Ottawa Art Gallery, it's being presented in English and French and Anishinaabe.
Yeah.
How much has the situation changed for Aboriginal artists in galleries like the Ottawa Art Gallery?
It's certainly increased. I think there's been a lot of change. There's been, I think, a welcoming of Aboriginal artists here in Ottawa. You know, there's a big community, and I've done a lot of work nationally and internationally with Indigenous artists here in Canada, the U.S. Early on in the '70s, I worked with BC artists like Tony Hunt and Frida Deasing. People may not remember them, and presently I've been working with Jamie Coble, who's a Métis artist, and Heather Campbell on projects. So I think Ottawa's a really healthy place where people are encouraged to produce their art and give an opportunity to show a real diverse type of art, not just here in Ottawa, but I think nationally.